we got to go out and do it again.
So it's now 3rd down, 10 yards to go. Garcia, who set a Rattler record last week with 389 yards, barely has 100 in this game's first half, and comes back left and finds his man Milton Vaughn for a first down near the 20-yard line in Pharaoh territory. And we asked Danny White earlier this week what he thought of his new quarterback Aaron Garcia from Washington State.
Aaron Garcia is a great street quarterback. He knows how to get things done on the field. He's got a great presence in the huddle, and I think everybody has a lot of confidence in him, and that's real important. He's developed a great rapport with our receivers, and he's a guy that I think is going to just get better.
Well, he will send Aaron Garcia back to work, and this is a guy who was the very best quarterback in the state of California at Grant High School in Sacramento. He broke all of John Elway's records, throwing for 3,519 yards and 39 touchdowns his senior year. He's got quick feet, comes back left, throws it incomplete. It will be 2nd down and 10 yards to go.
Boy, Thomas McLeish once again. These guys up front for the Pharaohs, Matt Pearson on one end, boy, Dale White. These guys, they've just got it going. It really does. His unit has got it going. Coach McQuarrie along with McSwain, coaching Rod McSwain with the defensive backs, they have come together and they're great teachers. The one thing John Bankhead made mention of, he said, I've learned more about playing the game from a technique standpoint than I've ever learned in my entire career playing football. That says a lot about the staff.
Well, they've got an assistant general manager by Pete Catella, who came from Arizona and is highly respected in this league.
Oh, Pete's a stud.
Garcia, he was being rushed again, and Garcia's picked off. There is a flag down, but what a beautiful interception by Darius Hadley. Only the 2nd time this year that Aaron Garcia has been picked off.
I think that's going to hold true. Holding on Arizona, that'll be Memphis football. Let's see how close I am. Well, I'm not close at all. I'm off. Oh my goodness.
You're doing the Shirley MacLaine out on a limb thing.
Yeah, I was trying.
Offside on the nose guard. Memphis, 3 yards. Replay, 2nd down.
Boy, how does a nose guard offsides? Watch Calvin on this. That's got to be their at least 6th or 7th penalty. Here he goes on the loop. Shanks Snyder, now watch the move coming up. He just acceleration. He comes out, great break on the ball. But then again, what you don't see is a quarterback who is down on the ground. Hadley with the great break on the ball.
Oh, look at that defense again. Despite 7 penalties to Arizona's 1, the Pharaohs have a 7-point lead, and their defense just will not let out. Fraley, Bankhead, Ross, Pearson have just been excellent.
Swarm. I mean, they're swarming. Those black shirts, man, kind of remind you of the Steel City. I mean, they're coming after you right now with a vengeance. Yes, indeed. When you look at those jerseys, and, you know, they come out and make a statement. And in arena football, you don't get a lot of defensive clubs that get recognition. This Memphis team is one that's leading on defense.
3rd down. 11 yards to go. Garcia, end zone, incomplete. He was looking at Hunky Cooper, but Garcia again flat on his back, banged up, slow in getting up. Will he last?
That is the 8th time Garcia has gone down courtesy of a Rydell helmet under his chin. And this has got to wear on you. This has got to wear on you.
He was just getting punished time after time. He started at Washington State as a freshman. As a sophomore, he did not, because they had another quarterback who came on as a freshman by the name of Drew Bledsoe.
I've heard of him. Didn't he do? No, he's an actor, right?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't he in?
Actor.
I think he's in Top Quarterback 2. They will fake it, run the football, and they will get the first down. And picking it up is Milton Vaughn on the fumble.
Speaking of acting, that's a great call. That is a big-time call on the part of the Rattlers staff. Hey, we can't
1987, where the expansion teams are so strong this year, including the St. Louis Stampede, who are 3-0 to start 1995, and they'll take on the Milwaukee Mustangs, who are still looking for their first win in their franchise history. They opened the year 0-12 last year, have not won in 1995. That will be next Friday, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 West Coast, right here on the Deuce.
And Milwaukee has good personnel. They are well coached. You just think it's just a matter of time of getting it going. But the pressure's got to be, the walls are closing in.
And Chris Velazzi will not be guaranteeing too many victories in the near future.
I don't think so. No.
Guaranteed #1 against expansion Iowa, and in one of the most beautifully played games we've seen in our 2 years working together, Iowa upsets them 69-61.
Awesome game. And I'm sure the fans in Milwaukee didn't mind, because the ticket holders got to get it at half price the following game.
Here's a guy, Aaron Garcia, who's completed nearly 70% of his passes on the year, and he's under 50% against Memphis.
That's just staggering numbers when you look at that. You know, Babe Pirelli with Las Vegas has just got to be looking at this. 141 points, 711 total yards, and Garcia close to 400 yards.
Yeah, the Arena Football League record is 399, set in their initial season 1987 by Denver's Whit Taylor. And not until Garcia went crazy last week was even approached. Play action left, and Garcia now rolling. He's got McMillan. McMillan gets a couple, but that's it. And then fumbles the football. And look who's got it. Garcia to the 1-yard line.
Man, give the Rattlers some credit for just having some guts. But it's almost out of desperation because things aren't working for them. But this is the true mark of a champion. There are 11 new guys on this ball club, but you can tell that spirit has carried over. Now watch this at the end. This is rock and roll football here. Sometimes, you know, you don't try to make, did he try to make that, or was it just knocked out of his hands?
No, he was juggling it. He was trying to find the handle on it, but he's glad he lost it now. They will mark Garcia down at the 2-yard line, making it 2nd down and goal. McMillan will be the fullback. 3 wide receivers right. They give it to Bob McMillan, and he will just smash in at, yes, he's in. Bob McMillan scores his 2nd touchdown of the night, and Arizona is within 1 of tying this game.
Let's just say that was a real ugly but productive and courageous drive on the part of the Arizona Rattlers.
They had an interception that was negated because of a Memphis penalty, their 7th of the game. They made a couple of penalties and mistakes themselves on snaps, but they were able to bull it in by way of Big Bob McMillan.
Yeah, true mark, though, of competitors, champions. They just never die. You keep hustling and good things happen. We got a good football game.
14-14 it could be if Zendejas makes it. He does. A flag comes flying, but the game is tied at 14 with 4 minutes and 4 seconds to play here in the first half. We'll check Buddy Ward's call. It is against Memphis. It will be declined, so they will apply the penalty after the kickoff. And when we come back, 4:04 remains in the first half. McMillan scoring his 2nd touchdown. He's wearing his snakeskin cap as he's tied this game at 14. And hey, we've got the NHL coming your way Saturday, June 3rd. Eastern Conference Game 1. New Jersey and Philadelphia. The Devils, the Flyers. That is Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, right here or on ESPN.
Big number 88 for those Flyers, Lindros.
This is one of the rare times you will watch a football game and see a player during the game being interviewed.
Well, that's what's neat about arena football. Taking the cameras in at halftime. I mean, really getting a chance for the fans to see what goes on inside the locker room.
It is a made-for-TV sport, and that football is kicked under the crossbar, so it will be the Pharaohs football at the 5-yard line, and let's see where they will mark it after that penalty that came on the extra point.
But an illegal defense on the previous
Last week,
extra
Memphis
point.
jumped out to a 29-7 lead.
First down.
Well, they'll mark it at the 2.5-yard line. But Memphis had a brilliant first half last week, jumping out to a 29-7 lead on 3 Troy Cobb touchdown passes. And then San Jose came back, closed it to 27-24, and then Kopp hit Darren Hughes, and Memphis never looked back, winning their second game this year against the one defeat. And their only loss came against another expansion club, St. Louis. Catch made near the 7-yard line, and it'll be second down and about 5-6 yards to go.
They appear to be a little bit more aggressive offensively than the last time we watched them play. You just see that, you know, Davis is their go-to guy, but Hughes and Cooper and then Burgess, they're starting to really emerge and make names for themselves. And you need 3 receivers in this game. You know, you can't hide people in this. I mean, you got to be players.
Well, Kopp has only thrown 6 passes, and that's in the first 27 minutes of the game, and that is really unusual for this. But we've had 2 long drives by Arizona that have taken 14 minutes off the clock. Kopp trying to go to Davis. It is incomplete, but flags all over the place. And it may go against Memphis, and they're nearing double figures in penalties again. And I even told Coach Don Freeze, if you guys can be under double figures in penalties, you got a chance to win. But they're nearing double figures, and we still have 3 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, what's the score?
It is 14-14.
Thank you very much.
Shut my mouth. They won when they had 16 penalties.
Hey, if you play defense the way they play defense, you can overcome some things. Now, will it hurt you in the long run? You better believe it will.
Well, the penalty is declined, so it'll be third down and 5 yards to go. Hughes and Davis are to the left. Jeff Russell in the slot. Kopp going downfield. He made a mistake, and it's intercepted by Vaughn. Kopp throwing completely across the field, and that may have been one of those times where you have to just throw the ball away.
In the stands.
We've got a timeout on the field with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left. Troy Kopp has made his first mistake of the night. An interception by Arizona's Henry Milton. On that last interception by Arizona, and for the officials, they're getting pinned against the walls as well with nowhere to go. Let's take a look at that last pick.
Well, it's so tough. He's got one, and the second foot goes out against the orange stripe. We're trying to see if we can pick up the official, which we'll see. Let's see, does he have possession? Goes up, and you like to have it, you catch it the highest point and try to bring it down. Yeah, it looks like he does.
Well, Milton Vaughn with the interception. He is a great two-way player for this team. And the official now on his feet, but I do not believe he will be continuing.
Well, this has to rank right up there with hockey in terms of toughest sports to officiate.
Oh, man.
Because, you know, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. I mean, you're up against those dasher boards, and you've got 16 maniacs running around on this small field, man. It's tough. Well, let's throw the quarterbacks out of that. Let's make it 14.
But the Pharaohs have played a marvelous game, particularly on the defensive side, and they are tied at 14 with the Arena Football League champion Arizona Rattlers. 2:22 remaining, and here we got another Memphis penalty. Nine penalties against the Pharaohs.
See, I always credit that. You mentioned John Elway, and I think John does a great job on the outside game about being able to use that voice, man, to get those free, 5 yards outside, 3-yard penalties inside, and it just takes the defensive lineman out of what they want to do, and that is tee off the ball.
What is it, a hut,
Just that voice inflection, little head movement, man. The good ones have it, and you notice everybody doesn't do it well. Some guys don't even attempt it.
9 penalties to just 1 for Arizona, but we're still tied at 14. Garcia's back to the air. He slings it to the right, and Schexnayder with the catch. They say no catch. He was out of bounds.
It's your job as a receiver to know where you're at and to make sure that you're live, that you make that reception and you're able to try to move those chains. I don't care what you say. It does look, you see these guys, Rattlers in the jeans, the whole bit. It still throws me for a loop. I like to see Danny White with a cap on, like his old coach one day. You know what I mean? Ward Hill cap like Landry.
He's got too much hair to do something like that. Here's Garcia downfield. He threw behind Vaughn, and it's incomplete. It will be 3rd down and 7 yards to go.
And Jerry Pitts, I mean, he's a good football player. I mean, he makes plays. But if he picks up this flag on this, I mean, that is really going to be unfortunate. Playing good defense, you don't need a knucklehead move.
Foul. Number 7. Personal foul. Number 4. Offset. 3rd down.
They will simply have offsetting penalties.
Yeah, I've never understood that call. Make a decision as to whoever, you know, creates a penalty and penalize them. What's offsetting do? Guys don't need warnings, you know what I mean? Not this.
It's either that or tell them to go to the room and have a 10-minute timeout.
Take a timeout, yeah.
Take a timeout.
Make them take a timeout.
We're at the 1-minute mark, and now they will go back to the traditional rules where any incompletion, they will stop the clock. From the first 29 minutes of each half, you run that clock, whether it's an incompletion, a running play, any play that goes out of bounds, the clock will continue to move. But now back to the traditional rules. Milton Vaughn goes left. Hunky Cooper in the slot. Hunky only has 2 catches in the first half. This might be time for number 14 to spring open. And Garcia's looking his way, going to Hunky. He makes the catch, and what a beautiful catch it was near the 1st down marker. He needed to get to the 21 for a 1st down. This might be 4th down.
This is a great operation. He runs the curl coming off of that yo-yo motion. And, you know, you can look at this and give Hadley some credit. Great break on the ball. I like this kid. He's a good DB. He really is. But that was just good pitch and catch. You know, I always think, Steve, it's got to be tough sometimes for Danny. Just feels like he might want to just go out and just sling one himself. For those old quarterbacks, Babe Pirelli, same thing with Las Vegas Club. It's got to be tough, man, to stay on the sidelines and watch this game because there's so much passing.
Cooper to the line. Garcia has time. He had Cooper, but Hunky couldn't hold on. And Jeff Russell was just getting ready to lower the boom when he realized it was incomplete. And Russell could have just nailed Cooper to the turf.
Yeah, Hunkster tried to make a big play. You know, when you're going down the final minute, you just want the possession. There he stops. The catch is there, but he's trying to make a play. Sometimes the great ones try to do too much. That was a pretty good example of it.
So it will be Memphis football with a 1st and 10 after the 4th and 1. Runs incomplete, and with 7 seconds left, maybe a chance for 2 plays. If they go deep, a chance for just 1. And Troy Kopp calls timeout as that clock was winding down to 3 seconds remaining on the 25-second clock.
Yeah, boy, that gets you know. You got to be prepared. You like to have your offensive unit on 4th down situations be huddled up. You know, in this case, you only got 2 players that are coming that haven't been on the field so that you don't blow a play like this.
There's Don Freeze and rallying his troops, Bruce Hardy, who's one of the defensive coaches for the Rattlers. We've got NASCAR coming your way tomorrow. Louisville Motor Speedway in Louisville, Kentucky. The season is comprised of 20 events at 18 different tracks in 14 states. The race is 200 laps at 87.5 miles, a super truck, Ford Dealers 200, 5 o'clock Eastern on ESPN.
I wonder, do they have any barbecue left around here from that big barbecue deal?
Yeah, last time we were here at the
Pyramid.
Pyramid,
Get any barbecue. I'm still mad about that.
they had 150,000 people here in town for a barbecue fest. Troy Kopp, he's right near the 50% mark. He's made the 1 interception. That did not come back to haunt him, and his team is tied at 14. He's got a chance to take in the locker room with the lead if he can score on this last 7 seconds. Kopp in trouble. Throws it off to Russell. Russell has a lot of room, but this will be the final play. Russell's to the 15. Russell's to the 10. He is down, and the half is over.
Well, it's been good. This been good football. This is a good game.
That's his college teammate at the University of Pacific, Jeff Russell, who was a top defensive back there. He comes up with a fine offensive play getting open, and I thought he might have been able to break free when he cleared the middle.
He needed a lateral. Boy, give the Rattlers defensive line. They did a great job. They flushed him out of the pocket. Now, this is helter-skelter football. Now you're trying to pick up blocks from your friends, but the Rattlers would have nothing to do with it.
We're heading to the break with the Pharaohs tied with the defending Arena Football League champion Arizona Rattlers, tied with the expansion Memphis Pharaohs at 14.
A lot of attempts throwing passes, but he's been pretty good on it and did hit Arizona with the big play. Arizona showed some real courage, though. This is the defending world champions, and they showed it on that one drive. They had a fake on special teams. Danny White, the Riverboat Gambler, went for it on a 4th down, and they made it. They got some points.
One of those defending champions is a guy by the name of John Bankhead, and he has played a marvelous first half, and he said, "We will win."
Who thinks he can make this one?
A surprising score with Arizona a heavy favorite to win this ball game. The defending Arena Football League champion Rattlers tied at 14 with the expansion Memphis Pharaohs, who have surprised a lot of people already this year, moving the record out to 2-1 on the season. But they played so tough. Arizona did have 2 impressive drives, but they both took combined 14 minutes off the clock. They only had the ball like 4 times in that first half.
When you throw the penalties into it, a couple of miscues, and it's not traditional Rattler football, but going into the half, you got to ask your question. Who's excited at halftime? I think Memphis is. I really do.
Oh, no question about that. But Arizona comes up with the football. First possession, goes for it on a 4th down and about 3 yards, makes it, then goes in to score the touchdown. And I think Danny White, the football team, had confidence at that time. But Memphis comes right back, and they move down the field, and Joey Burgess gave them a great boost with that touchdown.
It was a super individual effort. Here you watch Burgess on the out, a little wide route. He catches this ball. Now watch the effort. See, there's that goal line, and he has a great feel for it. He's not going to be denied.
And Aaron Garcia, who threw 13 touchdowns in his first 3 games, hasn't thrown one. They've gone to the ground every time in the red zone. Bob McMillan's given him 2 touchdowns.
Well, he's shown, again, the great tradition of fullback play with the Arizona Rattlers. Danny White believes in it. They're accustomed to getting great production at that position, and it looks like there's no drop-off.
There's your first half stats. Again, the penalties, 9 for Memphis, only 1 for Arizona, and Memphis is still tied at 14. Think of what they might be doing if you take half those penalties away. But it's like their coach, Don Freese, said, I'll take the smart penalty rather than a big play by the other team.
Yeah, well, the one on the Rattlers, though, was the fumble. They come right back and score on the next play. So they took advantage of it. They went right for the juggler. But John Bankhead is really the heart and soul of this club, and one of the reasons why the Memphis defense is playing so well.
So you think it's the Rattlers offensive line that has to suck it up and say, we have to keep the guys off Garcia.
Well, look at what on Troy, on Cobb's situation, his offensive line, I mean, that's not brilliant numbers, but they've hung in there, and he's got 2 TDs and 1 interception, 1 bad throw. He threw across his body, and but they didn't get hurt by it.
I think he got greedy. You remember that pass into the end zone where Darren Hughes made a marvelous catch?
He got greedy.
He went back to it a couple of plays later, and that time it was picked off. We are tied at 14 at the half with Arizona and Memphis, and it was a football game that really concerned head coach Danny White coming into it, simply because Memphis defense was so good. In Memphis, Tennessee, let's check out the rest of the Arena Football League standings, starting with the National Conference, where there's a real surprise going on over in the Eastern Division, where Albany, who finished 10-2 last year, starts the season 0-2. One of those losses was to the Arizona Rattlers, and they've lost 2 games by very close margins this year. Charlotte's 2-1. They're the team that beat Orlando, who is the favorite to win it all in the Arena Football League this year.
Good football.
Tampa Bay at 2-0. A lot of people like Jake Gruden's chances with the football team this year, getting back Old Arena Football League coach Tim Markham, and Orlando at 2-1. And in the American Conference in the Central Division, look who's on top. Two expansion teams.
I tell you what, that is exciting. It's great for the league, and I'm sure that everybody, in charge has got to be tickled a little bit. But still, you need the Milwaukee to jump up. Memphis has played well, and I think next week's game with St. Louis and Memphis is going to be a good one.
In the West, Arizona has won all 3 of their meetings. San Jose lost to them in overtime to open the season, and Danny White even admitted that was a game that the Rattlers deserved to lose, and San Jose and their head coach Todd Shell deserved to win.
You didn't want to be around Todd after that game.
I
just love his demeanor. He's a typical, he's a perfect defensive player. He really is, man. And Don Freeze, there, he's not showing it, but I think he's looking back and talking to Coach White, say, hey, man, not bad. We can just make a play on defense and not hurt ourselves offensively. We can win this football game.
Well, it's 14-14 at the half. And we saw a first half that was marvelous last week with Orlando and Miami, and then Orlando pulled away last minute of the first half and blew them out in the second half. Hunky Cooper this year, 11 kickoff returns, 1 for a touchdown. He is one of the most dangerous return artists in this game.
We didn't get a chance to go inside the locker room, but you better believe that Danny White was blowing his stack. You look at this talent, Shake Snader, Vaughn, and Cooper, but they got to make plays. And I'm sure he was in there telling, hey, guys, potential's great on paper. If you got talent, come out and show it in the second half and turn up the heat.
Yeah, there was a football team who last week completed an unbelievable 21 passes in the game. But this week they only have 5 completions in the first half because of the Pharaoh defense. Lee kicking off. And it is out of bounds, so a penalty flag will be thrown, and Arizona will have the football in great field position at the 20-yard line. So that's 10 penalties now against the Pharaohs.
Don't forget Cooper dropped that 4th down pass, so he'll come back and make up for that in a big way. That's the one thing you don't want to do is get him riled up. And you can look at his face right now, man. He's a true champion and wants to lead this Rattlers club back, and they want to host the Arena Bowl.
He was a quarterback and a punt returner in college at UNLV. Ran the option. Those are the last 4 possessions for Arizona. Schexnader's wide open. Calvin with the catch and the touchdown. Well, that didn't take long.
No, it didn't. And they are so fortunate. Boy, Houghton was there. He was a great move at the nose tackle position. I thought he was close to a sack. You can see not a lot of emotion, not a lot of celebration, because, see, they realize they're not playing up to their potential.
They'll play half zone, half man. This was a zone that hurt them.
But watch this, though. Right off the center. See, Houghton gets free. Boy, seconds away. And you can't gamble like that on defense going up against Shake Snader. We talked about those 3 talented guys, Cooper, Shake Snader, Milton Vaughn. They'd have to come through and make big plays. Well, that's what it's all about.
And Aaron Garcia has thrown his first touchdown pass of the night, his 14th this year against 2 interceptions. But one of those interceptions came in this football game. We've got 13 minutes. You're looking at a very productive player, Calvin Schexnader, 12 catches this year. 6 of them have gone for scores. Let's hear his head coach Danny White talking about Calvin.
Calvin Schexnader can be as good as Calvin wants to be. I think he's got talent that even he doesn't know he has. So we're trying to continue to develop him as a total football player. But he's one of those guys that no one can cover man to man, and teams pretty much have to play zones to stop him. If they don't, we're going to just continue to isolate him on defensive backs. And when you got Hunky Cooper and Milton Vaughn alongside of him, it makes him that much more effective.
It is 21-14, Arizona over Memphis with 13:51 to play here in the 3rd quarter. And there's a flag on the play on the kickoff. It was covered by Jeff Russell, but you have to advance it out of the end zone.
You're going to go.
What's that, number 12?
There comes a time where the silly penalties, like the one on the kickoff where you kick it out of bounds, those come back to haunt you. They gave that quick touchdown to Arizona on the 30-yard pass from Aaron Garcia to Calvin Schexnayder. And now a football team that I'm sure was so pumped up in the locker room now is to come back.
Well, the only remedy for mistakes is points.
Troy Kopp going deep for the home run. Jeff Russell, he makes a great catch at the 2-yard line.
Well, let's see if Memphis doesn't shoot themselves in the foot.
They are calling that against the Pharaohs.
It doesn't surprise you, does it?
That is 13 penalties, and the last 2 have killed them.
Pass interference, number 6, Memphis, half the distance.
Well, here's a guy who was a defensive back in college, so you're making the transition. He was their most valuable player on the defensive end. So let's see if we can see that separation. If he
well, you
did
look
get a
for it up
push-off.
front. Boy, Lyles picks up the blitz. There you have the pump. Now, this ball's in flight. They're going for the football. Watch his inside arm. He's maybe there on the push-off. Very delicate call.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Very delicate.
11 penalties against Memphis. Arizona with 1. But Arizona only leads by 7. And Kopp almost tied it up with that long bomb to Russell. So Troy comes right back, dumps it over the middle to his fullback, who makes a nice catch and lunges forward to the 10-yard line. Robert Lyles, a 34-year-old veteran from Sugar Land, Texas.
Why is it third?
Well, Lyles is pumped up today, man. You just think he wants that Iron Man award. Let's take a look at the pressure up front. That's relentless. You watch those pads are lower. Give Kevin Thomas all the credit in the world for keeping his pads down and moving forward. Nice bull rush.
So this makes it a 3rd down and 4 situation for Troy Kopp, who is 6 for 10 in the game, 2 touchdowns, did have that 1 pick on a pass he'd love to have back. They'll run Lyles, and Lyles can't find an opening, and down he goes. It'll be 4th down for Memphis.
It's a great defensive series for the Rattlers. And you see Bruce Hardy on the sidelines, man. He's almost on the field, patting it on for his troops. That Coach Don Freese doesn't kind of like this.
A 55-yard field goal attempt by Brian Lee out of Mississippi. Well, it is well short, and it will bounce and go out of bounds near the 10-yard line. So he shanked that football off to the left side, and we have a timeout on the field with 11 minutes and 42 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Rattlers by 7 last year and won it. They peaked at the right time, beating Albany, and then shocking heavily favored Orlando in the championship game when the Predators were picked to win by 13. And Arizona got them and won by 5. 36-31 at the Jungle. Here tonight it is 21-14, Rattlers with the lead, and Garcia's got the ball back and going to his split end. Herb Duncan, who has brilliant speed, and Duncan is past the 20-yard line.
I'm starting to sense a little lax on the side of Memphis. Poor tackling. I mean, that's an indication of people not really being focused. They gave up a touchdown, then they come out and have a penalty. It hurts them offensively. So this is a point right now where Arizona, if they can kind of seize a moment, can really separate themselves in this football game.
And put a little doubt in the Pharaohs' minds. Garcia has now completed 50%, but that's not good because he's a guy who through the first 3 games has completed nearly 70%. And Garcia, scrambling away from trouble, gets hit by his own man and is knocked down at the 15-yard line, and down comes a flag.
Yeah, bank hit. That's a late hit. That's the late hit. Unnecessary. I hate to see good football players come in and do things to hurt the team.
Your club has made 11 penalties, though, already. Yeah. And here comes number 12.
Yep, this is it. Good rush by Bankhead. He missed a sack. You get a little frustrated. But there's a great hustle move. Vincent Farley. And see, that's the late hit. You got to protect quarterbacks in this league. That's a good call.
Yeah, he's just got to get out of the scene.
That's a good call.
You know, instead of having it be second down and long, needing 16, 17 yards to go. It is a 1st and 10 now inside the 21-yard line. 1 penalty to 12. And coming into the game, the whole season was like that. Arizona had just 11 penalties in the first 3 games, while Memphis had 36.
Yeah, the only way Bankhead makes this up now is to get in, get a sack, and strip, force a fumble.
Garcia, man open. Cooper, does he have it? Yes, touchdown. What a catch.